Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today I'm going to tell you how you can get better at that little old fighting game where you go like that. Yeah, ARMS. Now, I think it's fairly safe to say that ARMS is a fighting game like no other, and so you're going to have to employ different tactics in order to be super duper good at it. And I've just got a few of them, and I'm going to tell you them all today. Lucky old you. But anyway, enough waffling, let's dive right into things. Please, please, please don't spam grabs. Grab spamming was a really common technique used during the test punch, and I can understand why so many people did it, because other people were inexperienced, they didn't know what to do, and good golly gosh does it do a lot of damage. But please, for the love of all that's holy, don't spam grabs anymore. Any player worth their salt can counter it so easily, and you're just going to end up looking like, well, somebody who can't play ARMS very well. I know this sounds like a really basic thing to start with, but nevertheless it's so important that I felt that I really had to drive home, just don't spam grabs, they just don't work. And if you don't know how to counter a spam grabber, then don't worry, with this list you'll be able to learn how as well. Now let's have a look at some more proper tips. Every single fighter has their own unique abilities and speeds and fist sizes and all those sort of things. Basically, every single character is totally different, so why not learn what they're like by playing as them? Even if you don't like the characters and you don't think you're ever going to play as them properly, give them a go just to learn how they tick, because then you'll know what to do when it comes to going up against them. You can adapt your strategy in order to make sure that you know how best to take them out, you know, whack like that. Although it is more complicated than that. There are two schools of thought when it comes to the controls: the good old-fashioned physical controls, and of course, the more modern, wacky motion controls. Both definitely have their advantages. For example, motion controls allows you to curve each punch independently of one another, which is something you cannot do if you're using a Pro Controller or any other kind of physical controls. However, as refined and as wonderful as the motion controls are, there is no doubt that a physical controller gives you a little bit more precision and reliability when it comes to throwing each punch. If you pick up ARMS and you immediately poo-poo the motion controls, then you could be doing yourself a massive disservice. Give them both a go, see which one you prefer, and then try and develop and just basically give them each an equal chance, because they're both extremely viable even in a competitive situation. Wow, that's an extremely bold claim. Rather than just rushing in gung-ho and trying to slap your opponent about the bit with the Slamamander, take your time, take a deep breath, and see what they do and let them make the first move. See what they're doing and then counter appropriately, either block or dodge or, you know, sort of slap their arm out of the air. Whatever you see them do, let them do it first, and then you know how to react, because otherwise, if you attack first, you could be put in a very difficult situation because they managed to react and counter and do basically what I'm telling you to do. Now, of course, this won't work in every situation, because if everyone did this, then nobody would ever throw any punches ever, which would be very boring. But nevertheless, don't just rush in and try and make the first move every time. Wait for your opponent to make the first move and then come back at them, you know, block it or whack them around the face, or if they, this is an important one, if they try and grab you, dodge and then grab yourself. You've got yourself a free grab for free, and it didn't cost anything because it's free. Now, on the total flip side of things, this is a situation where you're gonna want to strike first. Yeah, lighter characters especially are very vulnerable up close, so if you're a heavy character, then don't be afraid to go in and really get stuck in up close and personal, because they won't be able to do much against you. And yes, as I said before, make sure that you strike first, because you won't have time to react to your opponent, especially if you've got big heavy fists, because then they can't really do anything except try and dodge out of the way, and they might not be so lucky. They might not be able to dodge in time or anything like that, so yeah, you'll be sitting very pretty indeed. Most of the matches that I've seen have been people trying to keep their distance as much as possible, and yes, that does make sense, but don't be afraid to get up a little bit closer, because the worst, you know, thing that's going to happen is you're going to get knocked back to where you were, and, you know, that's not that bad, but you could catch your opponent extremely off guard and sort of just get in there and really give them a good seeing to, which is exactly what you want to do in ARMS. You want to win. because it's a game. Much like using other characters, try out using other characters and their arms and see whether you think that, sort of your main character, for example, you main Ribbon Girl, and you think that maybe the Megaton is the right one for you. I'm not saying that's actually viable, in fact that sounds awful, but nevertheless, by trying out Master Mummy and trying out all the different arms and really getting a feel for them, you can get a better idea of, different tactics that you can use. You can adapt your playstyle to make these new arms work for you, or maybe they fit in brilliantly with your current playstyle. You'll never know unless you try. Also, any inexperienced players online won't expect you to be using different arms to the default ones, so you'll be able to fox those cheeky little sausages. Only ever launch your rush when your foe is exposed. Seriously. When your foe has thrown one or ideally both of their arms, they won't be able to dodge, their movement will be extremely limited, they can't jump, they can't block, and all of a sudden they're put in a situation where you can just go... It's all about the Slammermanders for me, that's all I seem to know. Another really good time to use it is if an opponent is jumping and has then dodged whilst jumping, because you know exactly where they're going to land, and then you can just unleash hell on them, and honestly, there's nothing they can do about it. But what are you gonna do if their rush is charged? How do you avoid that? Well, hold your horses, that's the next tip, and it just happens to be the last one. When a foe's rush is charged, you need to learn how to avoid it. And the biggest thing that you can do, the biggest mistake you can do, is jumping. Seriously. Jumps are supremely predictable, and obviously you can't block in the air, so you're leaving yourself extremely open, much like I sort of talked about previously in the previous tip. So basically, try and avoid jumping if possible. On the other side of things, make sure that you dodge as much as possible, because if you're dodging, you're moving out of the way of their arms without blocking or anything like that. I mean, you can block, but if you block too much, then they're going to grab, and you're going to be put into a whole world of hurt. And as unrealistic as it sounds, try and avoid throwing arms unless the enemy has thrown out both of theirs, because then they can still activate their rush, but they can't actually hit you with those fists until those arms have retracted. This gives you a window, admittedly small, just to dodge out the way, or better yet, block, because blocking is so much more reliable. They can't get through, basically. Whilst a badly timed dodge, just one, and you could be in serious hurt town. And there you have it. Hopefully with these tips, you will be able to become a better arms fighter and a better arms person just all round. But what about your fighting techniques? Do you use some of the ones we listed here? Or maybe you've got your own ideas? Let us know down there in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you follow another tip that I have, just another little bonus one, and check out that subscribe button. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Wow, that was shameless. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye.